So all the way in September last year, I laid out my points for my ideal character creator for Mass Effect Andromeda. And now that I've had a few days to play around with the character creator, how does it shape up? Hi, this is Rima from MEOdyssey, and today I'm going to do an in-depth look at the character creator for Mass Effect Andromeda, specifically looking back at the points I laid out in my wishlist. This will take a more of a freeform style of video, so let's get this going. So before we look at the character creator itself, I thought it'd be good to look back at my personal wishlist I had created a couple months ago, just to kind of give my points a little bit more focus. So what would have been my ideal character creator? Well, for one, it needed to have fine control, and I did mention the Dragon Age Inquisition slider box that you could use to create presets and then kind of change them and alter them, giving you a lot more finer control. Also having more actual points in the sliders so that you would have a variety of options. I wanted scars and tattoos, and a variety of scars and tattoos, and the ability to move them around the face and also increase and decrease the intensity. I also made a point about neutral lighting in the creator, so that when you actually created and spent all this time making a character in the character creator, when you brought them into the world, they'd also look the same. And this was something that Inquisition tried to play around with, and we hadn't seen it before in a BioWare game. I also wanted a wide range of colours, specifically in subtle skin tones, hair, eyes, and also to have a colour wheel if possible. And finally, the most important point I made in my original wishlist was hairstyles. I wanted a lot more variety of hairstyles, and for hairstyles themselves to look a lot less plasticky, as they do tend to look in BioWare games. I spent about 2 hours with the character creator when I first got the game, just kind of playing around with it and seeing really what I could do. I kind of wanted to go through all the options and just see how far I could really take it. So how did the Mass Effect Andromeda character creator match up to the wishlist I'd made in September? Well, here are my points. The faces definitely have more detail than in the trilogy, which I guess was expected considering those were on a previous generation of consoles and PCs, and now we're on current models of consoles, so you would be expecting to see better resolution and better detail in the faces. In regards to actually having fine control of actually making the faces, I did think the features were more subtly changeable, so there were a lot more options in the slider than they were in the trilogy, and the changes were a lot more subtle than they were in the trilogy as well. However, in regards to actually creating a face that's really unique, I didn't feel there was as fine control as I was hoping for. For one, it didn't have the slider box that was in Inquisition, which I thought was a really good tool for picking a preset and then modifying that to such a great detail that you could actually create a completely different thing from there. I also personally found that the presets that you had to start with were a little difficult to work with. So you get 9 presets to make a custom face of varying races, and what you do is you can use those to either you pick those presets and you stick with them, or you can adjust them slightly to make your own custom rider, really. And personally, I found that it was a lot harder to actually change those presets and make a brand new unique character. I felt that it was really hard to move away from them. And in general as well, the faces reminded me a lot more of The Division than Mass Effect, which was jarring at first, but I got used to it pretty quickly anyway. Scars and tattoos are definitely there, and I'm happy to say that there's a nice variety, more than I actually thought there was going to be. You can change the intensity of scars. You can, they tend to be quite extreme looking scars. I was expecting like smaller scars, but they're like burn marks and scorch marks and things like that. But you can fiddle around with the intensity if you don't want to be so obvious with them. Tattoos can be adjusted with color, but they can't be adjusted for intensity. And neither your scars or your tattoos can be moved around the face vertically or horizontally, which is a little bit disappointing, but it's still there. The placement of the scars are in good places, so I guess in the long run you probably wouldn't want to be changing them too much, but I was hoping for the movement around. As far as I can tell, the character generally does look like what you made in the creator in the game. However, I've not actually seen the character in a whole bunch of different lighting yet, so it'll probably be later in the game that I'll start to probably notice if there is a difference, but so far it does seem like the creator does give you a good kind of look of what your character is going to look like in the game. So it feels like possibly there is a neutral lighting element there, as well as the fact that it kind of doesn't adversely affect the character's fine details when you do go into the game. Now, the colors is a section of Andromeda's character creator that actually really excelled. It was a part that actually surprised me the most. I really wanted a lot of color in the character creator because I felt that as robust as the one in the trilogy was, and it was limited, but it was still very robust, I felt that colors was one of the points that did kind of lack. And I feel like they did a really good job here. There's a lot more variety in color for hair, tattoos, makeup, eyes, and the skin tones. For hairstyles, I'm so surprised at the fact that you have such a wide-ranging set of colors. So you have your more natural tones from your blondes, brunettes, redheads, and dark black colors, as well as the fact that you can go completely wild with it, with blues, purples, greens, reds, oranges, like just amazing colors that I didn't expect them to have. And it's really nice that you can kind of play around, especially with the fact that you have a younger character, so you might want to give them like a purple hairdo. For your eyes and your makeup and your tattoos, you can also get the color wheel that you can use to get actually the perfect color or your absolutely crazy color. It gives you a lot more variety and a lot more control, which is amazing. And all the colors are very vibrant. They look really, really good in the character. They look really, really good in the game. I'm also really glad to see the inner and outer eye color options coming back from Dragon Age Inquisition, allowing your eyes to just look beautiful. So you can make them like beautiful blues, greens, purples, reds, yellows. It's just amazing, and it makes such a difference when the eyes look really, really, really stunning, and having the color wheel for the eyes, for the inner and the outer iris, is such a good idea. And for the skin tone, you can't use the color wheel on the skin tone, so you can't have like a blue rider running around. But you do get a slider, and I'm glad to say that the slider does give you skin tones that are a lot more subtle and aren't just as limited as they were in the trilogy, so that's nice. And finally, hair. Hair was the one thing that I was really just hoping that it would be amazing. I wanted to see really good hairstyles, and it's not like 100% amazing, but it's very, very good. The hairstyles are a lot more modern. They're way more dynamic in the way that they move. There's hair physics, so they actually don't look as plasticky, and they're good varied types of hairstyles, from very more ethnic hairstyles to more modern ones, to more contemporary ones, and more Mass Effect-y ones. So it's nice to see that the hairstyles are something they probably considered a lot more. Men also have facial hair. There's not a huge amount of options, but it's there, and the options that are there are pretty good, from your mutton chops to your moustache. There are also a few other points that I did notice from the character creator that I didn't really have in my wish list, but I thought were interesting enough anyway. So makeup wasn't something I really discussed in my wish list, but it's nice to see that makeup was something that they really looked at. You've got some crazy options, from your weird patterns of your lips to your weird patterns of your eyes, and it looks like they've kind of made it look like, your Asari makeup, which we got to see on PB and various Asari in the Milky Way, and it's nice that you can kind of do that on your Vider as well. You can use the color wheel on the makeup as well, so you can have like bright green lipstick, or you can go like a nice subtle tone. And intensity is for the makeup as well, so you can have different intensities as well, and you can also have the gloss for the lips as well, which is one of the features I really liked. And makeup is there for both genders, so men, you can fiddle around with makeup. If you want that really nice red lipstick, go ahead. You can also customize your character's training record. So you get 6 training profiles, which are security, biotic, technician, leader, scrapper, and operative. So basically they're your starting training backgrounds, and they give you your starting skill. So I picked biotic, so I start off with, I think it was pull. And from there you'll obviously be able to customize your abilities once you take on the role of the Pathfinder, but it kind of gives your writer a nice background to begin with, and also kind of, I guess, headcanon wise, you can pick what your writer was before they reached Andromeda. You can also pick between male and female shepherd, and I haven't seen the impact of that as of yet, but I assume it's just really going to affect the pronouns in codexes and dialogue regarding shepherd, and I don't think there's going to be a huge story difference, but it was reported before the game was on early access that this was going to be there, so it's literally just, do you want female shepherd or male shepherd? That's it. And the last point that really surprised me, I I was aware that they were probably going to be adjusting Alec Rider depending on what choices you did for your Rider and your twin. So you can change your twin's appearance as well. So I picked Sarah Rider, I customized her, and then I left default Scott Rider as he was. And I wasn't sure, there wasn't an option to fiddle around with Alec Rider's appearance, so I assumed that either it would adjust within the game or it would just kind of stay the same. I was very surprised when my Alec Rider looked like this, and I was like, oh. So there are different presets for Alec Rider too, depending on what options you pick, and I'm assuming they depend on the preset you pick of your custom face. And you can fully customize your twin as well. You can kind of fiddle around with their options to make them look the way you want them to, if you want them to look like the default Rider, or whether you want to give them their own unique look as well. So what are my final conclusions and thoughts about Mass Effect Andromeda's character creator? Overall, I really like the character creator. I feel like BioWare have given us a lot more variety to create the Rider that we actually want, even if that's an utter freak with green hair and purple tattoos. I love the fact that they just let us loose on the colours and gave us more diverse hairstyles, scars, tattoos, and makeup options, letting us be more creative in that sense. However, the only really gripe I have with the character creator is the fact that we don't have as much detail control that I thought we would. Though the faces look more detailed, I feel like you do lose a bit more fine control than you did in previous RPGs that we have seen. A small thing I didn't mention in the video was the fact that you can't actually control how big the eyes are, so you can move them around the face, you can move them up and down, to the side, further into the face and further outwards, but you can't actually change the physical size of them, and you can't change the preset of them. So if you pick a custom face, one of the presets, those eyes and those eyebrows are the ones you're going to be stuck with. And it seems to be a very small feature that was present in the trilogy and was present in Inquisition that I just wish was kind of there. And it's just small things like that that I feel could have been added in to allow you to make something a lot more unique and a lot more truly yours in the end. But those are my thoughts on the character creator, and hopefully this gives you a balanced look at the character creator and what my opinions are of them. If you've had a chance to play the game, what are your thoughts about the character creator? And I would love to see what your custom Riders look like, so do tweet them at us at MEOdyssey. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and please share this video to help the channel grow. Thank you so much for sticking around with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.